Those foam containers we often use for food could soon be banned in Maine. Good evening, I'm Costa in for Pat Callahan. Maine's Senate and House have passed a bill that would ban polystyrene food containers. NECN's Dustin Vladkowski looks at what the ban would mean for businesses. The bill is now on the governor's desk. If you do any shopping in Biddeford, you better remember your reusable bags. In July, retailers in the city will not be able to give shoppers single-use plastic bags. The city council approved the ordinance banning the bags last night. City officials say the bags are not recyclable and throwing them into recycling bins interferes with the sorting process at recycling centers. The ban goes into effect on July 15th. After that, store owners violating the ban can get hit with a $250 fine for the first violation and $500 after that. A man from Millinocket accused of manslaughter is waiting for a verdict from a judge. Jesse Mackin took the stand today in his own defense. He's accused of killing a 6-month-old boy, Larry Lord Jr., in May of 2015. During closing arguments today, the state argued that Mackin was caring for Lord alone when the infant was injured. However, the defense said that Mackin left the child alone with his mother twice on the day the injury happened. Mackin's fate is now in the hands of a Superior Court judge who said he will deliver his verdict at a later date. Maine Governor Janet Mills has signed a warrant allowing a Maine man wanted in Alaska to face his murder charges there. Stephen Downs of Auburn is charged with sexually assaulting and killing Sophie Sergi in 1993 at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. In court yesterday, a judge gave Downs a week to decide whether to challenge the extradition. Downs went to school at the University of Alaska Fairbanks in the 90s. The case went unsolved for nearly 25 years before DNA evidence led to Downs' arrest in February. Since then, he's been held without bail on a fugitive from justice charge. The Oxford Police Department is asking for help finding this man. Eric Berube has been missing since Monday. Police say he was last seen on Gore Road in Oxford, heading towards Otisfield. Anyone with information should contact police at the number on your screen. The state wants pet owners to be aware of a veterinarian in Machias who has been practicing without a license, and now the board is concerned about the health and safety of animals. Dr. Cynthia Tier was put on probation more than 5 years ago. Over a year ago, her license was taken away. This afternoon, the doors to Machias Animal Hospital were locked, and a sign indicated closed for surgery. The voicemail says the same. No word yet on why that statement was released this week, but according to court documents, Dr. Tier was fined $10,000. The latest numbers from the Maine Attorney General's office show that fatal drug overdoses decreased by 15% from 2017 to 2018. While that is a good sign, Governor Janet Mills says the numbers are still alarming. The annual report put the total number of fatal drug overdoses in 2018 at 354. Compare that to 417 deaths in 2017. The report found 80% of deaths involved opioids. You can find an in-depth breakdown of the numbers on our website or mobile app. The growing number of people suffering from opioid addiction in Maine is leading to a spike in the use of a herb called kratom, but the feds are warning people to stay away from the green powdered supplement. Derek Connors has battled drug and alcohol addiction most of his life. He started taking kratom after he suffered injuries to his neck and back while working on a construction job. He says it helps him manage pain and depression and keeps him away from painkillers. The CDC recently reviewed more than 27,000 overdose deaths in nearly a dozen states, including Maine. Kratom was found present in 91 deaths. Toxicology tests determined other drugs, such as fentanyl, were also found in the majority of the cases. The FDA warns that kratom is unregulated and can be dangerous. Potential side effects include seizures and hallucinations. Connors says the herb saved his life.
It helps you work through the pain, it helps you, it alleviates depression. I can focus a little bit better. So it works, and that's the first thing I noticed, and it's been going on 6 years.
Officials with the Northern New England Poison Center say 13 people in Maine reported side effects from kratom in 2018. We're always hearing about Maine's shrinking population, but what does the latest census say? We'll break down the numbers. Plus, Democrats are disappointed by the redacted version of the Mueller report. and Republicans are declaring victory. We'll hear from Maine's delegation and their takes next. Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation report is now public, at least most of it, released today by the Attorney General. The report shows how President Trump felt threatened by the investigation and tried to get his staff to fire Mueller, but it did not recommend charges against the president for obstruction of justice. The report is now in the hands of Congress, where hearings are already being scheduled to call Mueller to testify. Blaine Alexander has the story from Washington. The Mueller report was released on the same day that every member of Maine's congressional delegation were in Augusta. Both Senators Susan Collins and Angus King, and both Representatives Shelley Pingree and Jared Golden have been very vocal about the need for this report to be released. But now that it's out, they all say they need to read through all 400 pages before making any further comments. However, Congresswoman Pingree did say she has a problem with the White House having access to the report before Congress and reporters.
I thought it was a very political act that Attorney General Barr would come out and give his opinion of it before the press or the Congress even had a chance to see it. And I would say Attorney General Barr needs to decide if he's the Attorney General of the United States or the president's lawyer. You know, it's a big difference there.
Is that I want to read the report. We're going to get hopefully a mostly unredacted version at the Senate Intelligence Committee. It was mentioned in the report. We've got a lot to digest, and I think that's all I want to say. I like to look before I leap, and I'm going to do some looking before I make any conclusions about what happened today.
Serious subject, and we're going to treat it as such. And so we're going to read every page, and at that point we'll be happy to talk to you more.
I'm pleased that the report is finally out and that Congress will be given an opportunity, the leaders of Congress, to read a version of the report that is mostly unredacted. It's important that the American people have the opportunity to review the report, and until I've read it, I really can't comment much further than that.
We expect to hear more from members of the delegation after this weekend when they all say they'll be going over the document. Rain is on the way, but is the weekend a complete washout? Meteorologist Keith Carson has your full forecast. And later, investigators are narrowing down on what caused the massive fire at Notre Dame Cathedral. We've heard it time and again, the population in Maine is shrinking, but the latest census numbers for the state actually prove otherwise. Cameron O'Brien breaks down the numbers for us. That was Cameron O'Brien reporting. Meteorologist Keith Carson is here now with a full look at the forecast, and it sounds like we are definitely going to be dodging some raindrops come this weekend, right?
We might not be dodging them. I think we're just getting hit by them for the most part. It's it's a wet pattern, but you know how this goes. Spring in Maine, April, May, June, first couple days of July.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Nothing overly warm either. So other than that, I had a lot of
say all the good news in the world.
It's just spring stuff. There's no snow in there.
Right.
So there's that. Not doing anything for you.
I don't know. I feel like there are people who
snow in there.
No, people love snow.
Yeah,
but not this time of year. Once we've passed April 1 or the marathon in Boston,
yes.
Patriots Day, people are
shut it down, like Drake would say.
He's a big Drake fan.
Big Drake fan.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
New reports are coming out of the investigation from the devastating fire at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Paris police say they believe an electrical short circuit may have started the blaze. Even as that investigation continues, the city has gone from mourning to paying tribute. The Paris prosecutor's office says all possible causes are still being looked at. Rob Gronkowski has not stopped smashing footballs even after his last season with the Patriots. We'll explain. But next, most Mainers are feeling some relief from lower milk prices, but how are they impacting our state's dairy farms? If this item isn't in your fridge right now, it's probably on your shopping list. Milk. There are more than 200 dairy farms in our state, but now farmers are getting some of the lowest prices in years for their milk. It's an issue nationwide, but in Maine, some have found hope, in part thanks to niche dairy markets. For example, organic milk used to make yogurt and cheese. Sheepscott Valley Farm in Whitefield produces 450 gallons of organic milk a day. And it goes to Stonyfield in New Hampshire, where it's used for yogurt and cheese. But with prices as low as they are, Annie Watson says she's feeling the pinch.
Dairy farms in the state, dairy farms across the country are facing an economic crisis. Unfortunately, we are at the mercy of price makers and the price setters. We don't control what the price is.
Maine dairy farms produce 71 million gallons of milk a year, according to the Maine Dairy Industry Association. 27% of those farms produce organic milk, one of the highest percentages in the nation. Today, all 4 members of Maine's congressional delegation and Governor Janet Mills joined in Augusta to celebrate the newest addition to the state's VA homes. When completed, it will be a state-of-the-art facility meant to feel like its own community. In addition to the more than 100 rooms for veterans, it will also include different shops, a gelato shop, different recreational options, and much more. Maine's leaders say this facility is the least they can do to care for the men and women who bravely served their country. One guest speaker spoke about Maine's rich military history, saying there is no other place in the country that takes care of their veterans.
There's no state that's more welcome. There's no state that has a greater history. This is a testament to the dedication of the people of Maine to those who serve.
The facility is expected to be complete by 2021. A 12-year-old girl from Skowhegan is battling a cancer that doctors say almost never affects young children. Sierra French was diagnosed with chondrosarcoma last summer, presenting as a tumor in her right knee. Sierra is scheduled to have knee replacement surgery to remove the tumor next week, but after living with pain for so long, she admits it's difficult for her to see herself on the other side of cancer.
Right now, it seems like this knee thing is pretty much like my whole life. So even though I want it to be over, I really don't know where I'm gonna go from here. But I mean, I just know that when I'm out of this, I'll be happy because I can just do things I want to do.
After surgery, Sierra will need to do a lot of physical therapy, but she says anything is better than being in pain all the time. We've still got more to come here tonight on News Center at 11. Next, we introduce you to a young boy who's already getting a lot of attention for his golf skills. Disc golf is growing in popularity with more pay and free courses popping up around New England. And like regular golf, it's a lifelong sport and one you can start playing early. That's what 9-year-old Uriah Kelly did. He picked up his first discs at age 4. Jessica Gagne shows us why now he's flying by adults in competitions. That's Jessica Gagne reporting. And here's a reminder that the Lombardi Trophy from Super Bowl 53 will be at the Maine State House tomorrow beginning at 1 p.m. Maine-born Patriots player Derek Rivers will be there as well. Members of the public are welcome to come out and take pictures with the trophy. And the trophy is going to look a little different than the others. That's because former Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski used it for batting practice at the Red Sox home opener a couple of weeks ago. Are you kidding me? And it left a dent the size of, you guessed it, a baseball, which prompted us to ask this Pulse poll question. Do you think the Gronk dent should be fixed? Go to our website or mobile app right now to vote. Kind of gives it a little bit of character, don't you think? That would certainly put the mark on the 6th Lombardi Trophy for the Patriots. Thanks so much for watching News Center Maine in 11, everybody. Have a great night.